Hello, class. So at this point in the drawing, we have pretty much all the elements we need to add to the drawing. We can always add and change things as need be, but what we have here is a bunch of things we pasted in, and it all looks good. It's coming in a good direction, but you can definitely still sort of tell they're sort of cut and paste. They don't look quite right, and this is a good time to really go and sort of take a look at each element and adjust them slightly to try to bring them into looking more like they belong together. And so things I mean by that is like the house seems a bit bright compared to everything. The sky may be overly blue. The mountain in the background is too saturated. And the trees may be all the same color. So there's a bunch of these things that we can just tweak these things a little bit each way and try to make them all look a little more unified. There'll be other tricks to do this as we go along too, but the first thing is to sort of adjust every layer to make it feel like it belongs. And so, you know, I'm going to show you a few of these. Then you just have to take it by eye. It's a bunch of skill. I'll show you some tools that might help you get there. But ultimately, every drawing's different. You're going to have to take your best go at it and practice these things. And really, the best way to master this is to get there. So I'm going to start. I think I could start anywhere. I'm going to start with the building. I feel it's a little bright, so I'm going to go to image adjustments. Um, you know, any of these could really work. The first few really get into brightness, contrast, and things like that. I'm going to open levels because I feel it's a fairly robust one that's also easy to use. One of the things you can do is you can go to auto, and it's going to sort of auto adjust things and see if you like it. Now, sometimes it works pretty well. In this case, I don't particularly like. I feel like it made the shadows too dark and the building itself a little too saturated. But I can come here and play with it then, maybe just because my eye was used to it being brighter. So I might brighten it up a little bit. If you do preview, you can see uncheck it. This is what it used to look like. Or recheck, very subtle, but does it look right? And I'll say, okay, that's good for now. I can try down here because I do feel like maybe it's a bit too much contrast, but now I need to make it a little darker. So I'm just going to go back and forth and see um, what I might like. And then I'll say, okay, you can see this is going to take time. I don't want to spend too much time in there. I could fitz around with that more, but I want you to do it. I want to show you the basic tools. So I'll leave that there. And as I go through, I might come back and make changes again. But let's look at another element here. Let's look at these mountains really quick. So if you're not sure where your mountains are, I know mine are right here. Here's a little trick I don't think I've seen. If you hover over the screen with your move tool and right click, you see all the layers around that area, and mountains tends to be one, so I can click on it and jump right there. Now things in the background, they tend to be more saturated in lighter. So my mountain seems too saturated in this point for the rest of my drawing. So I'm going to go to image, adjust. And in this case, I'm going to use hue saturation because I know I can bring the saturation down as might need to be the case um, in something that's in the background. So I can bring it down. I can always adjust it, and I'm going to make it lighter because I know things in the background tend to be lighter as well. So again, just give it to what you think might look good to add depth to your drawing. Something like that. So again, I can uncheck the preview. That's what it was, and then maybe just a subtle change like that is around where I'll need. So I'll say okay. And I'll go through here, and then things like the trees. Let's say I come to a tree. I'm going to go to this tree. That's the background tree here, and I could do the same thing. I could go here. Maybe I'll start with hue saturation, and I've painted some leaves on top, so we'll see how this works. But maybe I'll desaturate a little bit because it's a little bit in the background, and lighten it up just a little bit because it is a little bit in the background. But I can also subtly adjust the color a little bit. So if I want it to be sort of slightly different in color than this tree here, just a very subtle shift in the hue one way or the other just makes it feel even more like a tree that's unique and different than the other one. So I can say okay there. Now if I really wanted to do that, I could come up to my leaf layer as well, and I don't want to change these leaves, so I'll just put a selection set around this tree back here, and now when I run that tool, it's only going to adjust the things in that area. So I can sort of do the same thing. I can desaturate them a little bit, I can lighten them a little bit, and I can change the color a little bit downwards to sort of match. And you could play, maybe you want just these leaves to be a different color for highlighting purposes or whatever the case might be. So you can go ahead and do that. And now I've got that tree looking slightly different in the background there. And so go ahead and take a close eye at everything in your image um, using those adjustment tools. Curves is sort of a more complicated version of levels. You can practice it to become more skilled at it, but sometimes that one makes sense. Brightness contrast is a little simpler, so you might even want to start there. You get a little bit of control out of that one. Those are the key ones. You might use vibrance. We'll use photo filter later on and look at some of these things. So go ahead and take your eye and adjust all the layers to make it look as realistic as possible. What I do is, it's going to take me too long and it will take time, right? Again, as I always say, good drawings take time. Just because it's in the computer doesn't mean everything's automatic for you. You still have to add your eye to it, your intellect to it to make it work. So I'm going to stop the video here, take the time I need to make all the adjustments, which will be a little bit of time, and then come back and show you the results. So I went and made a bunch more adjustments, as you can see here, just really quick. I really lightened the sky because I just felt like it was drawing too much attention to you. I played with all the trees, colors, saturation, and things. Even the house, I actually desaturated a bit. I thought it was just too bright in that way. So I played with all the layers. I got them to where I wanted to be. And there's still a few other things we can do to make this stuff even better. But we are getting near the end of this assignment. So I'll see you in the next video.